come over tonight. I want to have you deep inside me.
Hope you are sweet down there. I love it big.
If you want your son to live, the old man said, you must sleep with 21 strong men in 7 days. High Priest Dibyangwari released the cowries from his palm. They scattered across the shrine floor with a dry, hollow sound. I stared at them. Then I screamed. 21 men? I cried, clutching my head. Dibia, are you insane? That is 3 men every day. I am a married woman. Dibyangwari did not look at me. Instead, he turned his back and adjusted the charms hanging on the shrine wall. Then go and buy a coffin for your son, he replied coldly.
Wait! Before we continue, smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss amazing African folktale stories like this. Hit the like button if this story moved you. It really helps our channel grow. Comment below. Tell us where you're watching from and which part of the story touched you the most. I want to see all your thoughts. And if you're craving more African folktales, check out the Bumt app on the Play Store. Hundreds of stories waiting for you. Okay, now let's get back to the story.
The words pierced my chest. I rushed forward. Please, my son, Kelechi, is only 6 years old. He is my only child. The priest turned slowly. His eyes glowed red in the firelight like burning coal. Your son is an Ogbanje, he said. The spirits have already begun to drag him back. My knees trembled. To hold him in this world, his body needs an overload of life force. Not medicine, not prayers. Raw human strength. The energy of 21 strong men. But my husband, your husband is empty, the priest roared, striking his staff on the ground. The shrine shook. If he touches you even once, the child dies before morning. You need fresh, aggressive blood. 21 men, 7 days. Miss even one count and the spirits will collect what is owed. He bent down and flung something at my feet. Black waist beads. Heavy. Cold. Alive. He said, wear this. It will draw their strength and feed the boy. But hear this clearly. Once you begin, you cannot stop. My hands shook as I picked up the beads. My stomach churned. 21 men. Madness. An abomination. But then I remembered my son at Ubota General Hospital. His tiny chest struggling to rise. His breath shallow. Machines beeping around him. I wiped my tears. I would do it, I whispered. The cowries rattled softly on the floor. I ran out of the shrine like a woman being chased by death. The doctor's words echoed in my mind. He may not survive the night. I needed 3 men today, immediately. My eyes fell on Tunde, the young generator technician who walked around our compound. Strong, muscular, always staring at me with hungry eyes. Life still burned brightly inside him. I swallowed hard and called his number. Tunde, the generator is bad again. Please come quickly. He arrived within 20 minutes. My husband, Hassan, was still at the hospital with our son. The house was silent. Tunde wore a tight singlet, his skin glistening with sweat. Madam, where's the key? He asked with a careless smile. Leave the key, I said, locking the door behind him. The black waist beads around my waist were already hot, pulsing like a second heart. I stepped closer. I am lonely, Tunde, I whispered, placing my hand on his chest. Confusion crossed his face, but desperation often looks like desire. He didn't resist. We moved to the guest room. I closed my eyes. "Forgive me," I prayed. "This is for my son." Then it happened. There was no pleasure, only a violent pull. The beads tightened suddenly around my waist. I gasped as a strange sound filled my ears, like wind rushing through a long tunnel. Tunde froze. His strength vanished instantly. "Madam," he gasped, clutching his chest. "My heart." His eyes rolled back. He collapsed on top of me. I screamed and pushed him away. "Tunde! Tunde!" He was breathing, but barely. His skin had gone pale, his body weak, as if years had been stolen from him in seconds. Then, ping! My phone beeped. I grabbed it with shaking hands. A message from Hassan. "Amina, the doctors are confused. Kelechi's heart just stabilized. He's breathing on his own." The phone slipped from my hand. It worked. The ritual worked. I stared at the half-dead man on my floor. I had saved my son for now, but fear wrapped around my chest like iron. This was only one. I still needed 20 more, and I had to find 2 more before midnight. Then, creak! I froze. The curtain by the window moved slowly. My heart stopped. I turned sharply. The curtain shifted again. Someone was watching.
Wait! You can enjoy more stories from our Bumt app on Play Store. Go over to Play Store, search for Bumt, install the app instantly for free. Hundreds of stories waiting for you to watch absolutely for free. Or check the description of this video. The app link is there. Open it and download Bumt app instantly today. See you on Bumt.
My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure whoever stood outside could hear it. I forced myself to move. Slowly, I walked toward the window and pulled the curtain aside. Nothing. Only the empty compound and the crooked shadow of the guava tree stretching across the ground. But the feeling remained. That heavy feeling that comes when something has already seen too much. I locked every door, bolted the windows, and leaned against the wall, gasping for breath. 2 more men. Before midnight. I could not stay in the house. I wrapped a scarf around my head and stepped back into the night. The village road was alive. Men sitting outside kiosks, laughter spilling from roadside bars, bodies full of strength and ignorance. My eyes burned with tears. "Forgive me," I whispered. "Please." I entered Mama Sola's beer joint, keeping my head low. It didn't take long. A man noticed me, then another. I chose one. Broad shoulders, loud voice, careless confidence. His name was Kule. He followed me willingly, thinking he had found luck. Back inside my house, the beads burned hotter than before. When it happened, I felt the same violent pull. Kule staggered back, gasping. "What is wrong with me?" he muttered, dropping to his knees. I watched in horror as his strength drained from him like water from a broken pot. He did not collapse completely, but when he stood up to leave, he walked like an old man. 2. My phone vibrated. A message from the hospital. He just opened his eyes. I pressed my hand over my mouth to silence my sob. It was working, but I was running out of time. Midnight was approaching. I needed 1 more. My body felt weak now, like the beads were feeding on me too. Outside, rain began to fall. Then I heard footsteps near my gate. A familiar voice called out, "Amina?" My blood froze. It was Musa, the night security man from the nearby school. Strong, alert, always watching. He stood under the street light, rain soaking his shoulders. He said, cautiously, "I saw strange movements. Are you all right?" My mind raced. If he left, I would fail. If I failed, I opened the gate. "I'm scared," I said softly. "Please, come inside." Something in his voice disarmed him. Inside the house, the beads tightened instantly, as if they recognized fresh strength. The pull was stronger this time, violent. Musa cried out and fell backward, clutching his chest. Amina, what are you doing to me? He whispered. I screamed and tried to hold him, but his body went limp. Then, slowly, his breath returned, weak, shallow, alive. 3. The beads loosened. The clock struck midnight. My phone buzzed violently. A video message from the hospital. Kelechi was sitting up, breathing, alive. I collapsed to the floor. Day 1 was complete. I had barely caught my breath when a knock hit the door. Hard, aggressive. My heart leapt into my throat. I crawled toward the window and peeked out. A figure stood outside, tall, still, watching the house, not hiding, waiting. Then my phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Day 1 complete. Do not try to hide. Day 2 will be worse. I dropped the phone. Outside, the figure raised its head and smiled. Morning came with no mercy. Amina woke up drenched in sweat, her body heavy, her bones aching as if she had been beaten through the night. The black beads clung to her waist like they had sunk deeper into her skin. They were no longer just warm, they were awake. Her phone buzzed. A message from Ugucha General Hospital. Your son slept through the night. Vitals improving. Doctors are confused. Amina closed her eyes. Confused. That word again. She sat up slowly. Baba Nori's warning echoed clearly in her head. Once you begin, the ritual must be completed daily. The spirits do not accept breaks. She still needed 3 men today. And this time, she understood something terrifying. The ritual didn't just require strength. It required desire, consent, and completion. The beads tightened slightly, as if agreeing. She chose the morning deliberately. Fewer questions, less suspicion. At the edge of the estate lived Yusuf, a commercial motorcycle rider. Young, strong, friendly. He had helped her many times. She approached him carefully. Yusuf, she said softly, lowering her eyes. I need help with something private. His surprise quickly turned into interest. Inside her house, the door clicked shut. The silence was thick. Amina's hands trembled as she spoke. I don't want this to be rushed. He nodded. What followed was quiet, consensual, and deliberate. When it was over, Yusuf sat on the edge of the bed, breathing heavily. Something was wrong. He touched his arms, then his chest. Amina, I feel weak. His voice sounded older, hollow. He stood up unsteadily and left without another word. The beads loosened. Her phone buzzed. A photo came through. Kelechi, awake, eating. 1. Amina wrapped herself in cloth and cried. By afternoon, fear followed her like a shadow. She avoided familiar faces. She went farther. At Nkwo Junction, she met Paul, a traveling sales agent stranded after missing a bus. He was polite, educated, lonely. They talked. She let him believe the story she needed him to believe. Back inside her house, the beads burned hotter than before. The act was longer this time, more intense. When it was over, Paul lay flat on his back, staring at the ceiling. I feel empty, he murmured, like something was taken from me. He slept for nearly an hour. When he woke, his confidence was gone. He left quietly. Her phone buzzed again. Oxygen support removed. 2. Amina's hands shook. Her body was paying a price now, but the beads demanded more. Night came with rain. The final count was the hardest. Amina had learned something important. The ritual did not favor repeated weakness. It demanded new strength each time. At Mama Kudi's bar, she met Ifeanyi, a traveling salesman passing through town. Broad shoulders, rough laughter. He followed her willingly. Inside the house, thunder rolled. When it was done, Ifeanyi tried to stand. He couldn't. He laughed weakly, thinking it was alcohol. But Amina knew better. She helped him sit. He slept deeply. The beads loosened completely. Her phone rang. This time, it was a video call. Kelechi, standing, laughing, calling her name. "Auntie Amina," he shouted, waving. Amina collapsed to her knees. Day 2 was complete. That night, her husband studied her closely. "You look tired," he said, "but different." Amina forced a smile. "I've been praying." Outside, footsteps passed the window again. Slow, measured. Her phone vibrated. An unknown number. 6 paid. 15 remain. Your body is now marked. Amina stared at the beads. They were darker now, and for the first time, she understood the truth. Saving her son was no longer the only price. The ritual was claiming her too. By the 3rd morning, Amina understood one truth clearly. The ritual was no longer something she did. It was something that was doing her. She woke before dawn, her body aching in places she could not explain. The black beads clung to her waist like they had fused with her skin. No longer an object she wore, but a mark she carried. Her phone vibrated. A message from Ogukona General Hospital. "Your son walked a few steps this morning. We don't understand it." Amina pressed her forehead to the wall and cried. 6 men in 2 days. 15 left. And today felt different, heavier. She chose carefully. Too many faces now knew her. Too many whispers followed her steps. She traveled to the neighboring town, Isiala, where no one recognized her. There, she met Remy, a gym instructor visiting family. Strong, disciplined, alert. Too alert. Inside the guest lodge she rented for the day, Remy paused before things went too far. "You are shaking," he said quietly. "Are you sure you want this?" The question cut deep. For a second, she almost stopped. Then the beads tightened. The decision was taken from her. What followed was silent, intense, and deliberate. When it ended, Remy sat up slowly, breathing hard. "You didn't just take my time," he said, rubbing his arms. "You took something else." He looked at her sharply. Amina said nothing. She watched him leave. Her phone buzzed. Heart function now normal. 7. But unease settled in her chest. Remy had noticed. By afternoon, her strength was fading. The ritual was working, but it was draining her too. She made a mistake. At Isiala, she chose Benga, a man with too many questions and eyes that calculated instead of desired. He followed her willingly, but halfway through, he stopped. "This isn't normal," he said, pulling back. "What are you doing to men?" Fear exploded in her chest. The beads tightened violently. Benga gasped. His suspicion turned into panic. When it was over, he staggered back like a man escaping a fire. "You are not ordinary," he muttered before leaving. Amina collapsed onto the bed. Her phone buzzed late. He asked for food. Kelechi. 11. But the price was rising. Benga would talk. Night came with rain and thunder. Amina returned home drained, desperate to finish the count before midnight. She found Hassan sitting in the dark, waiting. "You've changed," he said quietly. "Your voice, your eyes, even your silence." Her heart pounded. "I'm tired," I replied. "I won't touch you," Hassan said, standing up, "but I won't stop asking questions." He left the room. Moments later, a knock gnawed at the door. Amina opened it and froze. Idris, Hassan's colleague from work. Strong, familiar, too close. "Hassan sent me," Idris said gently. "He's worried about you." The beads burned like fire. They screamed. Amina's hands shook. Inside the house, tension hung thick. What happened was quick, desperate, and silent. When it ended, Idris sat on the floor shaking. "You are carrying something dangerous," he said quietly. "Whatever it is, it will destroy you." He left without another word. Her phone vibrated. A video. Kelechi, running, laughing, alive. 12. Day 4 was complete. Amina sat on the floor shaking. Halfway, 12 men, 4 days. Her phone vibrated again. Unknown number. You are halfway. The remaining ones will not come easily. Your husband's protection is weakening. Prepare. She clutched the beads. For the first time since this began, a terrifying thought crossed her mind. What if the ritual was not just saving her son, but slowly positioning her husband as the final sacrifice? She gasped, and somewhere in the darkness, something listened.
So tell me, what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel. Please subscribe, like the video, comment, just say something. Even a word could literally mean a whole lot. So I want you to tell me, what lessons have you learned from this story? Trust me, these are situations that most people actually go through. I want to hear how you dealt with the situation that you were faced with.
By the 5th morning, Amina no longer cried. She woke up calm. That frightened her more than anything. The black beads around her waist were no longer tight. They rested there like they belonged, like they had always been part of her. When she touched them, a slow heat spread through her, steady and demanding. Her phone buzzed. Your son has been discharged from intensive care. Amina stared at the message. He was alive, walking, laughing, and she was no longer the woman who brought him into the world. The change. She bathed longer than usual. She oiled her skin. She chose her clothes carefully, not to hide, not to deceive, but to invite. For the first time since the ritual began, she didn't tell herself lies about necessity or mercy. She told herself the truth. This is how I save him. The beads warmed, approving. She went to Daman-Close, where construction workers rested after morning labor. She didn't rush. She didn't beg. She waited. Her eyes met Rashid's, tall, broad, confident in the careless way of men who think tomorrow is guaranteed. She smiled. That was all. He followed her without a word. Inside the room, silence stretched between them, heavy, charged. Amina didn't act afraid. She didn't hesitate. She stepped closer, letting the distance disappear. When the door closed, there was no confusion about what would happen. What followed was intense, consuming, and unquestionable. When it ended, Rashid lay flat on the bed, staring at the ceiling, breathing like a man who had run too far. I feel hollow, he said softly. Amina didn't answer. She dressed, she left. Her phone buzzed. Heartbeat strong, 13. By afternoon, something else had changed. Men noticed her before she spoke. At Lafayette Junction, she caught the eye of Ezekiel, a trader known for his stamina and arrogance. He smiled when he saw her, the smile of a man who believed he was in control. He wasn't. Back in the room, Amina didn't lead. She allowed. The beads burned hotter than ever. When it was over, Ezekiel sat up suddenly, panic flashing across his face. What did you do to me? He asked. Amina met his eyes. I survived, she said. He didn't laugh. He left quickly, like someone escaping a fire. Her phone vibrated again. Appetite restored, 14. Amina's legs shook, not from shame, from exhaustion, from power. Night fell. Rain washed the streets clean, but nothing could wash what was happening inside her. She didn't go far this time. She didn't need to. Malik lived 2 streets away. A night guard, strong, quiet, married. He had always looked at her respectfully. Tonight, respect crumbled. When she called his name softly, he hesitated, just for a moment before stepping inside. The door closed, the world narrowed. When it was over, Malik sat on the floor, his back against the wall, shaking. This thing you are carrying, it doesn't belong to humans, he said quietly. Amina wrapped her cloth around her. I know. Her phone rang, a video, Kelechi, running across the hospital compound, calling her name, laughing, alive, 15. Day 5 was complete. Amina sat alone in the dark. 15 men, 5 days. The beads were no longer black. They were glossy, like wet stone. Her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. You are no longer begging, you are participating. Day 6 will involve choice. Choose wrong and the price will double. Amina closed her eyes. For the first time since this began, she wasn't sure who she was trying to save anymore, her son or herself. Amina woke up screaming, not from a dream, from a pull. The black beads around her waist burned like live coal, tightening suddenly, violently, as if something had yanked an invisible chain tied to her soul. She gasped for air and sat upright. Her body felt lighter, too light, like something important had been removed. Her phone buzzed immediately. Your son has been cleared for discharge. Amina dropped the phone. Kelechi was healed completely, but the beads did not loosen. They tightened again, and for the first time, she understood something Baba Nori never told her. The ritual was not counting days anymore. It was counting willingness. The visit. Before she could think, a knock came at the door. Not soft, not polite. 3 heavy knocks. Her heart pounding. She opened it. Baba Nori stood outside. She had never seen him leave his shrine before. You have done well, he said calmly, stepping inside without invitation. Too well. Amina swallowed. My son is alive. Yes, he nodded. But now the spirits are awake. She stared at him. You said 7 days. Baba Nori smiled faintly. I said 21 men, he replied. The days were for your comfort. Her knees weakened. You used desire, not force, he continued. That pleased them. Now they want proof. Proof of what? She whispered. Ownership. She didn't go out to look for him. He came to her. Sule, a civil defense officer, knocked at noon. Tall, armed, observant. We received reports, he said carefully. Men collapsing, weakness, fear. The beads tightened. Hard. Amina knew. If she sent him away, the ritual would count it as refusal. If she kept him, inside the room, tension filled the air like smoke. Sule hesitated. This doesn't feel right, he said. The beads decided for both of them. When it ended, Sule sat silently for a long time, staring at his weapon on the table. I won't report this, he said finally. But if I see you again, I won't be kind. He left. Her phone buzzed. Vitals perfect. 16. Amina's hand shook. This was no longer secrecy. This was survival. By evening, whispers had become names. Her name. She returned home to find her son waiting. Not angry, not shouting, just broken. I know, he said quietly. Her heart shattered. I don't know how, but I know something is taking you away from me. The beads burned, screamed. She backed away. Don't touch me, she whispered. Please. Hassan stepped closer. Tell me the truth. The beads tightened violently. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Kabiru. Again? Hassan turned. You came again? Hassan asked sharply. Kabiru avoided his eyes. Amina's blood ran cold. The ritual did not care about timing or loyalty. What followed happened fast, too fast. When it ended, Kabiru couldn't stand. Hassan stared at the scene in silence. Something inside him died. He turned and walked out. Her phone vibrated. Brain activity, excellent. 17. Amina screamed. Not in fear, in loss. Night fell like a curse. The last count of day 6 came with a message. Unknown number. The final choice approaches. Tomorrow decides everything. The beads pulled her toward the door. Outside stood Abdul, a stranger, but his eyes were wrong, too old, too knowing. You don't recognize me, he said softly, but I recognize you. Inside the room, the air grew cold. When it ended, Abdul smiled. Tomorrow, he said, standing easily, untouched, they will ask for what you love most. Her phone buzzed. 6 days complete. Amina sat alone on the floor. Her husband was gone. Her house felt empty. The beads were no longer burning. They were settled, satisfied. Her phone buzzed one final time. Unknown number. 1 day remains. 3 counts left. Prepare your heart. Amina hugged herself and whispered the question she had been avoiding since day 1. What if the final men were never meant to be strangers?
Outside, the wind howled, and somewhere beyond it, something waited for day 7. Amina didn't wake up. She was called awake. The black beads tightened at once, not with heat this time, but with command. Her body moved before her mind caught up. She sat upright, breathing slowly, steadily, like someone who had already accepted her fate. Her phone buzzed. One message: bring the boy home. Her heart nearly stopped. At the hospital, doctor smiled, congratulated, called her a miracle. Kelechi ran into her arms, warm, solid, alive. She held him so tightly, he laughed and complained. "Mommy, you're squeezing me." She smiled, but she knew this was not a reward, it was preparation. The revelation. She did not return home. The beads pulled her instead, back to the forest, back to the shrine, back to Baba Nori. He was waiting. "You have done 18, he said calmly. 3 remain." Amina held her son close. "I was told 7 days. Today is the 7th. Baba Nori nodded. "Yes, and today the truth must be spoken." He pointed his staff at the beads. "Those were never meant to save your son alone. They were meant to choose." "Choose what?" she whispered. Baba Nori's eyes softened for the first time. "Choose the vessel." The ground felt unsteady beneath her feet. "Your son was never dying," Baba Nori continued. "He was being prepared. Ogbanji are not children who want to leave. They are spirits searching for a stronger anchor." Amina shook her head violently. "No, I felt him dying." "Yes," Baba Nori said gently, "because the old life had to be drained to make room for the new." Her chest burned. 21 men, Baba Nori said. 21 measures of strength. Not to save him, he paused. To bind him permanently to this world. Amina's knees hit the ground. The first man of the final day was not a stranger. It was Baba Nori himself. "I am old," he said calmly, "but I am the gatekeeper."
Amina stood inside her house, already dressed, already emptied of fear. The black waist beads clung tightly to her skin, heavier than they had ever been. They no longer burned. They waited. A knock came at the door. 3 times. Slow. Setting. She opened it. The priest stood there. Not Baba Nuwori of the forest shrine. Not the distant, untouchable custodian of spirits. But a man. Old. Human. Breathing. "You are ready," he said calmly, stepping inside without asking. Amina swallowed. "You said 21 strong men." The priest nodded. "And you have brought 18. He looked directly at her. "The spirits have decided who begins the final day." Her knees weakened. "You?" she whispered. "The first strength must be spiritual. If the gatekeeper does not enter first, the gate will collapse." The beads tightened. Amina understood. There will be no running, no bargaining, no forgiveness left to beg for. Inside the room, everything was quiet. No chanting, no fire, no witnesses. Only breath, only destiny. What happened was ritual, not passion. Sacrifice, not desire. When it was over, the priest sat still for a long time, his shoulders sagging, his eyes suddenly older than before. He stood slowly. "1," he said. The beads loosened for the first time in days. Outside, thunder rolled. By nightfall, the remaining counts were completed. Not with strangers, not with desire, but with truth, with betrayal, with sacrifice that could not be undone. When the beads finally snapped and fell to the floor, they were no longer black. They were ash. Some nights, when the wind passes through the trees near the old shrine, villagers hear whispers, not of a demon, not of a curse, but of a woman who completed what no one else could. A mother who finished the ritual and paid the full price.
So tell me, what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel. Please subscribe, like the video, comment, just say something. Even a word could literally mean a whole lot. So I want you to tell me, what lessons have you learned from this story? Trust me, These are situations that most people actually go through. I want to hear how you dealt with the situation that you were faced with.